Now we will learn how to represent a complex number graphically. Any complex number x plus iota y can be represented as a point with an ordered pair of coordinates x, y. Now, this point is plotted on a plane called Argand plane or Gaussian plane. What is the difference between an Argand plane and a Cartesian plane? It is all same. The only difference is that here x and y axis for the Cartesian plane, both x and y axis are real, but in Argand plane, x axis is real and y axis is imaginary, because the point x, y will be represented on an Argand plane where y is the imaginary part of the complex number z. So to represent that imaginary part on a plane which is called Argand plane, we termed y as our imaginary axis. In that way, it is easy to plot any point on an Argand plane. So any point on an Argand plane is always associated with a complex number. If I say that point P is on Argand plane, then you will understand that point P represents a complex number which is x plus iota y. Is it clear? The way we locate a point on a Cartesian plane is same as locating a point on an Argand plane. If I want to plot a point P on the Cartesian plane, it will be same as we move x units on the x-axis and y units on the y-axis. Same thing in case of Argand plane. If we want to locate the point x, y, we move x units on the x-axis and then we move y units on the y-axis. But the difference is that here y is the imaginary part of z. That is why we are moving along the imaginary axis when we are plotting the ordinate y. Is it clear to us? The point P on an Argand plane can be in the first quadrant, can be in the second quadrant, or in the third quadrant, or in the fourth quadrant, depending on the values of x and y. In the second quadrant, coordinate will be minus xy. In the third quadrant, it will be minus x minus y. And in the fourth quadrant, it will be x minus y. Is it clear? Same as your Cartesian plane. Plot the points on an Argand plane. Let me draw an Argand plane. This is our real axis x and this is our imaginary axis y. Now the first point is 3, 0, which will be somewhere here. This point is 3, 0. Any point on the x-axis will be purely real. Any point on the y-axis will be purely imaginary. Minus 3, 0 will be somewhere here, purely real number. 0, 3 will be somewhere here, purely imaginary number. 0, minus 3 will be somewhere here. Again, it is purely imaginary number. 4, 5, it will be somewhere here in the first quadrant, because here x is positive as well as y is positive. Now minus 4, 5, minus 4 is negative and ordinate is positive, so it is lying in the second quadrant, so it will be somewhere here. This point is minus 4, 5. Minus 4 minus 5. X coordinate is negative, y coordinate is negative, so it is lying in the third quadrant. This point will be minus 4, minus 5. 4, minus 5. X is positive, y is negative, so it is in the fourth quadrant, so it will be somewhere here. The point will be 4, minus 5. Is it clear? Have you understood how to plot the points on an Argand plane? Any point on the x-axis will be treated as purely real number. Any point on the y-axis will be treated purely imaginary number. Now in this Argand plane, let us, plot a point x, y. Now, if I join the origin with that point, then the distance OP is what termed as modulus of complex number associated with point P. Let us say the complex number be Z associated with the point P. Therefore, OP is nothing but modulus of complex number Z. Now, if I draw a perpendicular, then OA, this distance will be X and this distance will be Y. So, from the Pythagoras theorem, OP is nothing but under root X square plus Y square. And this is what is termed as modulus of the complex number Z and is denoted by mod Z. Is it clear? So, what is modulus of any complex number? Modulus of any complex number is the distance between the origin to that point. As simple as that. Is it clear? Whether the point is in the second, third or fourth quadrant doesn't matter. The distance from the origin to that point is always referred to as modulus of that complex number. Is it clear? Now let us say this modulus OP is making an angle theta with the positive direction of the x-axis. What is theta? Theta is the angle made by the modulus of the complex number associated with the point P with the positive direction of the x-axis. Then this theta is what called your argument of the complex number Z and it is denoted by arg Z. So what is argument of any complex number? Argument of any complex number is the modulus of that complex number associated with that point makes an angle with the positive direction of the x-axis is what termed as argument of complex number Z, which is also called amplitude of the complex number also. Is it clear? So now from the triangle OPA we can say that tan theta is y by x because this is x and this is y. So tan theta is y by x implies theta is tan inverse y by x, which is the argument of the complex number Z. Right? Now let me define an angle alpha which is tan inverse mod y by x. Okay, why I have given mod of y by x? Because irrespective of the sign of x and y, we are always taking its positive value. Now, when the point is in the first quadrant, you observe carefully, your theta will be equals to alpha. Your theta is equals to alpha when the point is in the first quadrant. Now, suppose the point is in the second quadrant. So, in that case, the coordinate will be minus x comma y. So in that case, the argument of this point associated with the complex number Z is this angle. As I told you, the argument of any point associated with a complex number is the modulus of that complex number making an angle with the positive direction of the x-axis is its respective argument. Is it clear? So to find the argument of the point which is in the second quadrant, we have to find out this angle. And this angle, if we omit the sign of x and y, we are going to have alpha, which is your tan inverse y by x, because if I draw a perpendicular, this is minus x and this is y, but if we forget about the sign, then we are going to get the alpha, which is tan inverse mod of y by x. Now to get the argument of this point, it is nothing but pi minus alpha, because this is the argument of this point associated with the complex number Z. So this angle will be pi minus alpha. Is it clear? Now if the point is in the third quadrant, so this is minus x and this is minus y. So the coordinate of this point is minus x minus y. Again, if we omit the sign, we are going to get the value of alpha as tan inverse y by x if we omit the sign. That is why I have given a mod sign over here. So this angle is alpha, means the argument of this point associated with the complex number z is this. This is the angle made by this point with the positive direction of the x-axis. So this is calculated like pi plus alpha. Yes or no? So when the point is in the third quadrant, your argument is pi plus alpha. This is when it is in the first quadrant, this is when it is in the second quadrant, and this is when it is in the third quadrant. Now if the point is in the fourth quadrant, the point will be minus x comma y. Now if I draw a perpendicular again, this is minus x, this is y. So this angle, irrespective of the sign, which will give you alpha, which is nothing but tan inverse mod y by x. And the argument of this point is nothing but this angle, this whole angle. Now how to calculate this angle? It is nothing but 2 pi minus this angle, that is 2 pi minus alpha. Therefore, the argument of the complex number which is in the fourth quadrant is nothing but 2 pi minus alpha. This argument is what called your least positive argument. The argument of any point on the complex plane associated with a complex number is least positive argument when your theta, the argument, is lying between 0 and 2 pi. Is it clear? That's exactly what we have done here. Now, whenever we are talking about the argument of any complex number, we are not talking about its least positive argument. Unless otherwise stated, we are always talking about principal value of argument. So the argument of any complex number is always principal value of argument unless and otherwise stated. And principal value of argument is that your theta will always lie between minus pi and pi. Okay? It will lie between minus pi and pi. Whenever theta falls in this range, we call that argument as principal value of argument. Is it clear or not? Now let us see how it differs from the least positive argument. Again, in this case, we will consider alpha as tan inverse mod y by x. That is, we are not considering the sign of y and x. We are always finding out x and y to be positive. Now, when the point is in the first quadrant, we are now talking about principal value of argument. So, argument is this. So, here your theta will be directly equals to alpha. It is same as with the least positive argument, which is theta equals to alpha. Now, when the point is in the second quadrant, then your argument is this. This angle will be pi minus alpha, which is same as your least positive argument. Okay? When the point is in the third quadrant, now we cannot do pi plus alpha because this angle is alpha. We cannot go for pi plus alpha because it will cross this limit. It will not fall in the principal value of the argument. So to find out the argument of a point associated with a complex number which is in the third quadrant, the angle made with the positive direction of the x-axis is this much. So this much is calculated by minus pi plus alpha. Are you getting my point? To get this angle, what we will do, we will write minus pi. This is minus pi because we are moving in the clockwise direction. Minus pi plus alpha. Therefore, the argument of the complex number when the point is in the third quadrant is minus pi plus alpha. Is it clear? When the point is in the fourth quadrant, then the angle made by the modulus of the complex number associated with the point P with the positive direction of the x-axis is this angle. And this angle, if I take the positive value of alpha, it will give you tan inverse mod y by x. But since it is in the negative direction, we are moving in the clockwise direction. The argument of this point associated with the complex number z will be nothing but minus alpha. In this case, we cannot take 2 pi minus alpha because it will not fall within this range. Within this range. Is it clear? That is why in that case your theta will be equals to minus alpha. Is it clear or not? Have you understood the difference between least positive argument and principal value of argument? So whenever we are talking about the argument, any complex number, we are always talking about the principal value of argument, not the least positive argument. Now let us make a summary of whatever we have done so far with least positive argument and principal value of argument in this table. Here alpha is tan inverse mod of y by x. Okay. Q represents the quadrant. X and y are the coordinates. LPA means least positive argument. PVA means principal value of argument. Now in the first quadrant, when x is positive and y is positive, the least positive argument is theta equals to alpha. Principal value of argument in that case also is theta equals to alpha. When the point is in the second quadrant, that is x is negative and y is positive, your least positive argument theta is pi minus alpha. Same thing with principal value of argument, it's pi minus alpha. But when the point is in the third quadrant, that is x is negative, y is negative, least positive argument is pi plus alpha, but principal value of argument is minus pi plus alpha. Correct? And when the point is in the fourth quadrant, that is x is positive and y is negative, then your theta, that is for the least principal argument, theta will be 2 pi minus alpha, and principal value of the argument theta will be minus alpha only. Have you understood it clearly? Absolutely. Now one mistake I have done, this is plus y and this is plus x and minus y. Okay, it is understandable. Is it fine with you people? Okay. Now, let us find out the modulus, least positive argument, principal value argument of the following complex numbers. We will first consider the first 4 complex numbers, then I will treat the last 4 complex numbers separately. For the complex number 1 plus root 3 iota, here x is 1 and y is root 3. It means it is falling in the first quadrant. And here alpha is tan inverse mod y by x gives us tan inverse root 3, which is pi by 3. Okay. Modulus of this complex number will be under root 1 square plus root 3 square, that gives us 2. Least positive argument is alpha only, which is pi by 3, as well as principal value argument is again alpha, which is pi by 3. Is it clear? Consider the second complex number, that is minus 1 plus root 3 iota. Here the point is minus 1 comma root 3. It is falling in the second quadrant. Again here alpha is pi by 3 and modulus of minus 1 plus root 3 iota is same as 2. Least positive argument will be pi minus alpha, that is pi minus pi by 3 gives us 2 pi by 3. Same thing with principal value argument. It is pi minus alpha gives us 2 pi by 3. Is it clear? Now let us consider the third complex number, which is minus 1 minus root 3 iota. Here the point is minus 1 minus root 3, which is falling in the third quadrant. And again alpha is pi by 3 in this case also. Modulus of this complex number will be the same thing, under root 1 square plus root 3 square, that gives us 2. Least positive argument will be pi plus. Since it is falling in the third quadrant, least positive argument will be pi plus pi by 3. That gives us 4 pi by 3. But principal value argument will be minus pi plus pi by 3. That gives us minus 2 pi by 3. Is it clear? And the last one is 1 minus root 3 iota. That is, the point is 1 comma minus root 3. That is, it is lying in the fourth quadrant. Again, here alpha is pi by 3. Modulus of 1 minus root 3 iota is under root 1 square plus root 3 square. It is same as 2. Here least positive argument will be 2 pi minus alpha. That is 5 pi by 3. But principal value argument will be minus alpha. That is minus pi by 3. Is it clear or not? Absolutely. Okay. Now let us consider the last 4 complex numbers. First is 2. Now where does this 2 falls? 2 is on the x-axis. Yes or no? On the Argand plane. It is purely a real number. Therefore, modulus of 2 is 2. And what will be the least positive argument of 2? It is nothing but 2 pi. Hello? Because we know that least positive argument always lies between 0 and 2 pi. So it will be 2 pi, not 0. Be very careful. And what about principal value argument? We know that principal value argument theta lies between minus pi and pi. So principal value argument for 2 is nothing but 0. Is it clear? Now the next one is minus 2. It is falling here. Again, it is on the x-axis but on the negative direction. So modulus of minus 2 will give you 2. Least positive argument will be pi. Principal value argument will be also pi. Let us take the third one. It is 3 iota. Modulus of 3 iota is under root 3 square. That gives us 3 only. But this point is lying on the positive direction of the y-axis. That is, this point is 0,3. It is purely imaginary. Yes, it is purely imaginary. In that case, least positive argument will be pi by 2. Principal value argument will be also pi by 2. Is it clear? Now let us consider the point minus 3 iota. Minus 3 iota, the point is 0, minus 3. That is, it is on the negative direction of the y-axis. Modulus of minus 3 iota will again give you 3. And the least positive argument in this case, since least positive argument your theta is lying from 0 to 2 pi, least positive argument will be 3 pi by 2. But principal value argument will be minus pi by 2. Careful about it. Have you understood? Here one thing we must remember, that whenever a point is on the positive direction of the x-axis, in that case your least positive argument will be 2 pi and principal value argument will be 0. When it is lying in the negative direction of the x-axis, least positive argument will be pi, principal value argument will be also pi. But when it is lying on the positive direction of the y-axis, least positive argument will be pi by 2. Here, principal value argument will be also pi by 2. But when the point is on the negative direction of the y-axis, then least positive argument will be 3 pi by 2 and principal value argument will be minus pi by 2. Okay? Now let us discuss about one more conception which is called conjugate of any complex number. What is conjugate of any complex number? Suppose a complex number is taken like x plus iota y. So its conjugate denoted by z bar is nothing but x minus iota y. That is, when iota is replaced by its opposite sign, that is, if plus sign is given, you will write minus iota. If minus iota is given, you will write plus iota. The complex number will be changed to its conjugate. Is it clear? So, z bar is the conjugate of the complex number x plus iota y, which is x minus iota y. Now, graphically, how we will represent this? Suppose a point P is there associated with the complex number x comma y. Then point P, which is x comma minus y, which is nothing but the conjugate of the complex number z, will be exactly vertically opposite to the point P. Okay, so in other words, also we can say that conjugate of any complex number is nothing but the mirror image of complex number z on an eigenplane with respect to the x-axis. Is it clear or not? Whenever a complex number is there, suppose it is x plus iota y as I have mentioned, so z bar will give you x minus iota y, and again if I take its conjugate, we are going to get back our original complex number back. So from here we got another formula, conjugate of any complex number, and again taking conjugate will give you that complex number back. So it can be treated as a formula. Is it clear or not? Now let us do a problem on conjugate. Find the conjugate of a complex number 1 minus 3 iota by 2 plus 3 iota. Let me denote this complex number by z. We will always try to convert any complex number in the form of x plus iota y. Every time. So we will try to convert this complex number z in the form of x plus iota y. So for that, what I am doing, I am multiplying numerator and denominator with the conjugate of the complex number which is in the denominator. So if I multiply the numerator, we are going to have in the denominator we are having a plus b into a minus b, that is a square minus b square. So we are having iota square is minus 1, so it is minus 9. This is in the form of x plus iota y, where x is minus 7 by 13 and y is minus 9 by 13. Okay, this is our complex number z. Therefore, its conjugate z bar will be minus 7 by 13 plus iota 9 by 13. Is it clear? Have you understood how to find out the conjugate of any complex number? Always convert it in terms of x plus iota y and then replace this iota by minus iota. You are going to get the conjugate of that complex number. Is it clear? I've given a bunch of problems based on whatever we have done so far. Check the PDF link given in the description box, download it and try all the sums given there. Send me the answers in the comment section so that I can check and validate its authenticity.